Okay, the second half of 2.1 deals with vertex form. So recall on Monday, no, this is Monday. Sorry, on Thursday, recall we had standard form. Does anybody remember what standard form is? For a linear equation, that's correct. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. This was standard form. What do we use instead of y, though? F of x, right? Typically we use f of x. We're official Algebra 2 students, so we're going to officially use f of x. All right, but vertex form goes like this. F of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. F of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Now, remember when you were in Algebra 1, you had two different types of equations for a line, right? We had Kyle already reminded us we had y equals mx plus b. You don't need to write this down. And we had ax plus by equals c. Do you guys remember that? You had two types of equations. Okay? But you could graph from either one of them. This one you would have to have moved around a little bit to solve for y, but you could graph from either one of them. Same story is true for graphing a quadratic. We have two equations. All right? One's going to be easy to graph from, which is the one we're going to talk about today, is easy to graph from. The other one we have to change some things around. Right? When we had standard form, we had to do the opposite of b over 2a and all that jazz that we just practiced. Vertex form, not so. So, again, we're going to go back through. We're still going to find the same thing. We're going to find the vertex. We're going to find the axis of symmetry. We're going to find whether it goes up or down and whether it has a minimum or a maximum. But here's the thing. The cool thing about vertex form is when you're trying to find the vertex, all you have to do is look. You don't have to do any math. You just look. The h value and the k value are what you're going to be looking at. That is your vertex. Now, something we have to be very careful about is that we're going to use the opposite sign of h. The opposite sign of h. Because the equation really says take x and subtract whatever your h value is. If that h value was a negative 1, what does that look like? What's minus a minus? It's really going to look like x plus 1. But if it was a negative 1, that's really what it should have been, but it's going to come out looking like an x plus 1. Same thing if I were to say, take your x and subtract whatever your h is. Well, if my h value is 3, what does that look like? It looks like a negative 3, right? So whatever our h value is, we're actually going to do the opposite sign. Okay? So that's what you need to remember about h value. K value stays the same. Again, what does our a tell us? If it's greater than 0, that means it's a positive number. If it's positive, it opens which direction? Good. Opens up. If it opens up, it has a minimum. If the a value is less than 0, it's negative. Opens down. And it has a maximum. All right, so let's do some practice. Notice where your a is. It's in front of the parenthesis. So on example 1, let's put our a value in there. What is our a value? It's a negative 1, right? Our a value is over here, whatever this is, so it's negative 1. If it's a negative, our parabola is going to open which direction? Down. Good. Again, the vertex is just identifying what the h and k value are. And so if I look over at my equation, this is my h, this is my k. What do we have to be careful about with h? It's really the opposite. This is really x minus whatever your h value is, which is a 1. So it's actually 1. What's our k value? -5. You keep the same value for your k. And just like with just like with standard form, the first coordinate of the vertex is still going to be the axis of symmetry. That didn't change. Really, the only thing that has changed is how we find our vertex. That's it. There's less work involved. If this opens down, is this going to have a minimum or a maximum, Kaylin? A maximum. So I already know that. I can put that in my little box line down there. Okay, let's go ahead and graph this then. So +1, -5. Remember, we get full credit for labeling everything. The axis of symmetry, still a dotted line. And we label it.
That's +1, -5 shouldn't be.
Oh, Cynthia's awake on a Monday. Okay, so we realized, well, Cynthia realized for us. Thank you, Cynthia. Did anybody else follow my mistake? Guys, just because I'm the teacher doesn't mean I'm perfect. Thank you for being so gracious, but the truth is, that's not true. You got it right. Okay, so Chris just asked me back here, what about the Y-intercept? For graphs in vertex form, you're going to have to do a lot of work. Sorry, I was thinking about something. Well, let's think about this, actually. Yeah. We're not going to find the Y-intercept with vertex form. We're just going to keep it for standard form. Okay, so on these, you don't have to worry about the Y-intercept. So, because of what's coming up, you'll see on our next lesson. We're going to go down, because we know it opens down. Axis of symmetry. X equals 1. Any questions about that? Okay, let's do example 2. See what you can do on your own. Look back if you need to. So in my equation, the h value is 1, but what do we know we always have to do with the h value? Opposite sign, so this is really going to be a -1, comma, -6. What's my axis of symmetry, Emily? X equals -1 is correct. If this opens up, Chelsea, is this going to have a minimum or a maximum if this opens up? Perfect. Minimum. Okay, so check me as I graph this. Is that where you are? -1, -6? Does that look better, Cynthia? Okay. That was rough. Should we label it? It goes up, so I'm just going to swipe it up. How do you feel? Give me a scale of 1 to 5 on your fingers, 5 being this is so easy, 1 being like, wow, what are we doing? 5 is so easy, 1 is, what are we doing?
What are we doing? 1.
Okay. All right. Okay, do the next one, then compare with your neighbor.
It doesn't have a thingy.
Ooh. Doesn't have a thingy.
It doesn't have a big side curve.
It doesn't have a k value, right? So that k's value is not there, so it is what? 0. Good. Yep. So you can even write +0 in there if you'd like to. Yes. So it comes from our h and our k value. What's your h value? Okay, but we always do the opposite of h, right? Good. James, is this parabola going to open up or down? Down, because the a value is negative. Excellent. Tracy, what's your vertex? 5, 0. Is it -5, 0, or is it +5? It should be +5 because we always do the opposite sign of what our h value is. What's my axis of symmetry, Elena? X equals 5. Minimum or maximum, Amanda?
Maximum.
Maximum because it's opening upside down. So 5, 0 is here. Make sure we label. We have our axis of symmetry. These are much easier than standard form, huh?
Whoa, a little bit. Yeah, until you return the page.
What's on the other side of the page?
Fraction.
Oh. What'd you say?
I prefer not using letters like K and H or
Oh, well, they're not random. H and K represent the vertex. They are special letters. Okay, most of you have moved on already to example 4. And Brianna said this is a problem because there are fractions. But is it really a problem?
No.
Let's look at this. What's the only thing we need A for? Say that louder, Chris.
decide if it opens up or down.
To decide if it opens up or down. That's the only thing I need A for. I don't have to graph 1, 4. I don't have to graph anything like that. I just have to make sure I know whether it opens up or down. So Chris, does this open up or down?
Down.
Down. Now I go about my biz as usual.
What?
My business. Go about my biz as usual. My business. Quentin, what is my vertex here? 2, -5. Oops, I wrote -2. 2, -5. What's my axis of symmetry? What have I not called on? Paula, what's my axis of symmetry? Just 2? Did you write just 2 in your box? There we go. X equals 2. Kyle, does this have a minimum or a maximum? Maximum. 2, negative 5.
Okay, now
X equals 2. 2, negative 5. Now, of course, if I had started with these type of equations, then you would have groaned when we got to the standard form, right? When you're like, oh, I had to do all this work.
It's definitely like a lot less work.
It is a lot less work, which is why I teach it to you secondly. Okay, so let's take just a few minutes. It shouldn't take you very long. You should have 2.1 Vertex Form in your binder. If you don't, let me know.